just going into our 29th year. So we've been at this a while, and our primary mission, if you will, is to work with kids under the age of 7 and to provide those new products that you generally don't think about because you don't see them, hence the name Project Undercover. So for this year, to date, we've given away about 600,000 diapers, 750,000 wipes, 30,000 pairs of new socks, 15,000 pairs of children's underwear. And we do this through a network of 26 community partners, which includes all the community action programs in the state, as well as all the major family service centers in the state. So we do it on a statewide basis, and it's all given out free of charge through money we raise and grants. This year has been particularly challenging for a whole lot of reasons. And COVID certainly is the mover there. There's been a lot more demand for the things that we do, and we've been trying to accommodate that. And as a result, we've been going through, an awful lot of our inventory. But there's also demand for things that we don't typically supply. And that's where Rhode Island Foundation really stepped up and said yes to what we were asking for. Certainly in this cold season, people struggling to pay their heating bills, living in cold apartments, the kids that are cold. And we decided to see if we could help with that. So we're looking at supplying roughly 3,000 to 3,500 woolen hats for toddlers and for infants, as an example. We will be providing roughly 5,000 pairs of gloves in children's sizes. That'll be going out. We've done close to 1,000 hand warmers for kids. That'll be going out. We're working with a local manufacturer in Rhode Island, and we'll be providing 50 swaddles for infants per partner. We should expect delivery on that hopefully this week, weather dependent, and that will go out the first week of January. So we've decided to try to nail something that we don't normally do, but we felt based on our conversations with our partners that this too was a real need this year, and we decided to take care of that. And Rhode Island Foundation has been tremendous in helping us with that. They've already given us funding to supply thousands and thousands of pairs of children's underwear this year. So we're just kind of covering the outside now, much like we've been covering the inside for the last umpteen years. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's a lot of things that maybe you don't think about, especially if you're not a parent, that, maybe if you're donating to a clothing drive, that's not something that you're probably thinking about. So this year you said that the demand was, I'm sure, much more higher than in years past. Can you speak to what it was like compared to last year, and what you were hearing from parents or those who you supplied products to?
We hear mostly from the agencies that we work with. We're kind of unique in how we set up this nonprofit. We realize that there's an awful lot of agencies that already have relationships with clients, with end users. And for us to get involved in that, we were really duplicating a lot of efforts. So we decided the most efficient way to get products to children is to supply those agencies that were already working with children. Where the increase is coming, it's coming from a couple of different areas. One is we are limited by our physical space at our warehouse in terms of the number of partners that we can serve. So right now we're at 26. On January, we're adding a 27th partner. But that's about all we can handle. Yet we're getting requests from many, many other nonprofit agencies that also work with children saying, we know what you do, can you help us out? And what we're basically saying is, yes, we'll figure it out. So we're out there raising money and supplying people that we haven't budgeted for, but we're going to do it anyway because it has to be done. So that's one area where increases come from different agencies that we don't typically deal with on a monthly basis. The partner agencies that we work with, they're facing increased demands. Certainly for diapers, that's been a big one. But with a lot of people laid off, people at home, kids at home, daycare centers, which may have provided diapers in the past, now that's up to parents. If you do the math, if you're going through 8 diapers a day per kid, you're spending 25 to 30 cents a diaper. By the end of the year, if you've got one kid, you just went through $1,000. We're working with people, families of 4, making $24,000 a year. Diapers is a huge expense. So if we can provide diapers at no charge, that means they have more money for food. In terms of some of the clothing that we've been giving away, the stuff that I just mentioned, as well as some of the stuff we've done already this year, I think what makes us unique is we're dealing just with new products. The state is fortunate in that it has a lot of generous people that do coat drives and things like that. We give away nothing but new material. We want the kids that we give our stuff to, as well as the parents that take our stuff, to feel some sense of pride, to feel good about what they're wearing, that they're wearing something that's warm and comfortable and has never been worn by anybody but that child. So we take a little pride in that. So that's been a big one. In terms of some of the smaller agencies, there's an awful lot of people in the state that have COVID, as you report on. These people cannot get to the agencies that we support because they're afraid to leave their house, or they can't leave their house. So many of the agencies that we're working with are now making home deliveries, which is putting a huge strain on those smaller agencies to go out and deliver cases of diapers or socks or whatever. That demand is increasing because when somebody gets to a house and sees they have one child they were expecting, they wind up seeing 2 children or 3 children, so they dig a little bit deeper. They come back to us and say, can you help? We're forever through Facebook getting requests from single individuals that says, I've got a problem. I can't afford diapers. I can't leave the house. My kids are cold. We're not supposed to be dealing with the end user. That's the job of the agencies that we support. But fortunately, I've got a fantastic board of directors that gets that email, loads up their car, figures out what the address of this person is in need, and drives the stuff to them. So we are cranking as a small agency.
That's so much work that you just described. I can't imagine. During the pandemic, it just must have been so much to deal with on so many different levels with all of these agencies that you mentioned. One thing I do wonder about, since you deal with so many of these kinds of products, are you working with masks at all too? Are you trying to include those in your distribution?
One of our good friends in Rhode Island, I'll preach this from the steeples. Rhode Island is very lucky to have a company called Ocean State Job Lot, which is probably the most generous company and the most generous couple of guys on the planet. They've supplied us with, so far, I'd say 10,000 masks. They've supplied us with gallons of hand sanitizer. We've been moving that out regularly to all of our partners. Again, that's not something that we normally do, but JobLot is very aware that we have a very good and efficient distribution system for reaching these agencies. I think a better agency than exists in the state. So people like Ocean State Job Lot, people like Bombas Socks come to us and say, we know you know how to get this out. Here's our donation. So yes, we've given away an awful lot of masks.
I want to ask you about, with this money, it's the end of the year. It's a tough time for a lot of people. I'm sure it's a tough time for, nonprofits as well. But if you did not get this funding, what kind of position would you be in right now?
We're still okay with what our core products are in terms of diapers and socks. We're pretty strong in that category at the moment. We have just run out of wipes. We order those by the pallet, and we have just run out of those. So although that wasn't part of this grant request with Rhode Island Foundation, that's something that we have to allocate money for. By Rhode Island Foundation giving us things like gloves, which is something that we probably would have purchased, we can now allocate that money back to buying wipes. So what they're giving us, the money that they're giving us, certainly helps out in that category of keeping children warm. And we're thankful for that, but that takes the load off of us so that we can take money that we have, that we no longer have to spend on things like gloves and swaddles, and spend it on core products like wipes, which we just ran out of. So, it's a big help, not only in terms of the product that we're able to buy with them, but in the fact that it takes a load off our shoulders so we can spend some of the money that we've raised through our fundraising efforts on the things that we do every day.
Okay, excellent. Are you able to say how much the grant that you're receiving is for?
It's roughly $24,000.
That's notable.
Yeah, that's a significant amount.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add, Richard, that I forgot to ask or that you wanted to mention that our viewers know?
We like to tell people that we're kind of Rhode Island's secret, that because we set ourselves up to supply so many other agencies, there are many people in Rhode Island that aren't really aware of what we do, because it's the agencies that are handing out the gloves, the socks, the diapers. So the fact that I'm speaking with you right now, the fact that people like Rhode Island Foundation and United Way and Champlain recognize what we do, that's all I can ask for. And I think that's terrific. And I greatly appreciate that.